This is George Dionne of the Rock is George podcast, and this is a KNAC.com exclusive interview with guitarist Tino of the British melodic rock act Praying Mantis. If I knew absolutely nothing about Praying Mantis, how would you describe the band's music to me?
I'd say we're just like a melodic British rockers, basically. I mean, a lot of melody sort of comes from the States, but these guys come from England. Sort of influences from Thin Lizzy in the early days to Wishbone Ash, those sort of proggy bands that doing the vocal harmonies and stuff like that. So, yeah, very, very harmonious band we are.
And I like how you said melodic rock, because at first I was confused growing up. I always thought Praying Mantis was a heavy metal band. You had the cool artwork. You got the logo that indicates heavy metal. But I was very surprised to find out you're more on the melodic rock side.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's crazy, isn't it? Because of the whole sort of Mantis thing, the Mantis monster, you know, it conjures up that image, and a lot of people have said exactly the same thing, that, you know, it conjures up that image of heavy metal. But now with more like an octopus, we're spreading our tentacles and letting people know what we're really about.
And you're letting them know about it on your 13th studio album, Defiance, which came out on April 18th through Frontiers Music. Let's talk about that word Defiance. You have a song Defiance, you have the album title Defiance. I listen to the song, I'm not really hearing Defiance in there. So what does it mean to you?
Well, Defiance, and funny enough, it's not even mentioned in the song at all, the actual title, Defiance. Well, I didn't write this song. My brother wrote the lyrics. Chris wrote the lyrics to this, and I don't know what he's telling telling the masses with these other interviews, but it's quite political. It's war torn, you know, stuff. Something on the other side of the world from you happening, you know, between Russia and the Ukraine. It's actually about the Ukraine's stance against the Russians, and that's what it all boils down to. But we thought, as we were on that subject of Defiance, we thought we'd give the name of the album that title as well, because, I mean, we're defiant in the way we've actually handled ourselves. We've done this for 50 years now. It's our 50th anniversary, and so it's that defiance of not laying down and like giving up.
Well, going back 50 years, actually, I found out you have a cover of Russ Ballard's I Surrender on the Defiance album. You actually wanted to release this on your first album, correct?
Exactly correct. Our management came into the studio when we were recording the album, and he said, "I've got this great song here. Would be a brilliant single for you guys." And we listened to it and thought, "Whoa, this is really good, really catchy, really melodic," and, you know, the direction we were going in anyway. And we recorded it up to the point of we did all the backing tracks, all the drums, all the guitars and everything, and had a guide vocal down on it. We hadn't quite put the melody, you know, the harmony guitars, the melodies on the record yet, but we did tinkle about with it. And then the next day, the management came in and said, "Got really bad news, guys. Rainbow want to cover the song that we brought you to do again." And who we were to fight with, you know, come up against the mighty Rainbow when we were a little diminutive Mantis at the time. So, yeah, we had to let that one go, I'm afraid. But yeah, 44 years later, we're giving it a crack of the whip now.
And it sounds great, by the way.
Good little story behind it as well. So, yeah.
Another song you have out is Standing Tall. I don't know if you wrote this one, but you did. All right. So why don't you talk about the lyrical inspiration for that one?
Lyrical inspiration was, I mean, if we hark back, first of all, to Time Tells No Lies, we had a song on there called Children of the Earth that Chris wrote the lyrics to. And it was all about our environmental issues at the time, environmental engineering, with environmental issues. And it's all about the man, the way he's been like raping the planet, just, you know, distorted and destroying it. So this is a modern day version of that. I mean, we were writing about it back in 1975, and look how far we've gone. No way, you know. So here I am, just reminding everyone, standing tall. And I always wanted to do like a a disco rock, heavy metal hybrid song. And in fact, I was saving this song for something that I was doing, like a side project that I'm doing. But the guys liked it so much on the album. They said, "Yeah, let's go for it. It'll be a bit of bit of fun." But it's turned out to be a little bit more than fun. It's actually sort of appeals to a lot of people. And everyone's going, "Wow, this is cracking! What is this? What is this? I'm hearing it." And then suddenly they, "Whoa, I like it! I like it!" I mean, so many rock stars admit to not liking ABBA, but they do secretly. It's just one of those things.
Everybody loves ABBA, and I can see Praying Mantis doing an ABBA cover.
Well, why not? In fact, I think our singer does. JC, he's got like a ABBA Rocks type thing that he does a duo with his girlfriend. Yeah.
Do you
So
guys
they've
have
got
the,
that.
do you guys have a third single coming from the album, or are you just going to stick with the two?
I think, well, the focus single on the day of release, I think, was "Let's See." That was the one. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I think, I mean, a friend of mine was telling me, a journalist from here in the UK, Dave Ling, he was saying you should actually release "I Surrender" because it's got a really good story behind it, and we'll put some more money in Russ Ballard's pocket. Not ours.
I feel like more people put money in Russ Ballard's pocket than Russ Ballard put in his own pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
Mantis is going to be heading out on tour pretty soon. I don't know if you're actually in the middle of a tour, but I know you're kicking things off with a rock cruise in Sweden. Have you guys ever played the rock cruise circuit?
Not the other ones that we've done. We did a Sweden rock cruise back in 2010, and we did the Silja rock cruise this time, but we haven't been on any of the biggies. We want to do 70,000 tons of melodic rock. All right. And the other one's Monsters of Rock cruise as well. We'd love to be on that. So hopefully next year we'll be doing more of that. We just did 3 shows in the UK as well after the Silja Rock cruise, and as an album launch type thing, which went really well. And it's great to see fans coming back out to play after the COVID, scare. So with the introduction of the new album, the 50-year anniversary, we put a good media campaign out there to actually get people off their bottoms and get themselves to venues and support live music.
Is this your first big run since the lockdowns?
It is really, yeah. I mean, we actually came out of lockdown and we were one of the first bands to actually tour the UK, but to very minimal audiences, confidence wasn't that high. And so we thought, oh, the UK is not good market for us, but we didn't see behind the whole sort of COVID, mask behind that. And that was what affected everything, I think. But this time, with a good promotion campaign and the new album 50-year anniversary, it's actually a successful last 3 days that we did. And now we're off to Germany next month, Germany and Holland, to do 3 at the end of this month. And then come the 2nd of June, we fly to Japan and do a couple of shows in Japan as well. So it's all moving along. And then Spanish Rock Imperium, we're doing that one, and some Czech Republic gigs as well. So yeah, keeping busy.
How many songs from the new album are you putting in the set?
I think, well, we've got 2 at the moment that we performed live. That was Defiance and Standing Tall, the first 2 singles. So you never know, we might be putting in one or 2 more. It's so difficult though, because I mean, having 13 albums, trying to please all the audiences everywhere. We keep on getting asked for songs that we haven't played for years and years, and there's only so much we can do within the space of 90 minutes to 2 hours.
Now, you mentioned Japan, and I'm pretty sure that Japan is pretty special to Praying Mantis, kind of put you back on the map, to say.
It did, yes, back in 1990, and it came through Paul Diano from Iron Maiden fame, coming back with his band Battle Zone, asking to do a gig out there, where the guy who was actually conducting all the stuff out there, a guy called Masahito, the big cheese in rock out there, he actually said, well, why don't you try this? Why don't you put this like hybrid band together, this like almost super group, and that's what we did. So we recorded that live album, and then Pony Canyon, the actual record company who put that record out, Live at Last, actually were interested in doing another another album with us, and that's where it all kicked off again, which is great. Kept us in business for quite some time, and here we are. Here we still are, defiant.
Perfect. When was the last time Praying Mantis played in the United States?
We've never played in the United States, and I've been asked this question many a time from other fellows doing the interviews, and it's something we've always wanted to do, but we never got ourselves out there. We've had the offers, but nothing ever materialized. It was pie in the sky, if you like. But I mean, I think that's opening up for us now, and I'm pretty confident that we may be doing something next year. I mean, we'd love to play to the American fans. We'd love to, because I mean, I see all the stats on Spotify, and stuff, and where we're getting loads of hits, and it's great. It's just be a shame not to be able to come and crack that market. It's a big nut to crack, but it'd be nice to get some inroads in the States, I must admit.
It's tough, especially for your style of music. It's not particularly supported much over here. There's a festival or two, but that's about it. And then there's not a lot of melodic rock bands coming through the U.S. that don't stay regionally. They can't do the whole thing.
No, obviously. But it's also what you charge for your visas to get over there as well. You guys can come over here for $30, and it's all good.
I've heard that a lot, actually, from overseas bands.
Yeah, something's got to change there.
So you mentioned it's the 50th anniversary of Praying Mantis. What do you attribute to the band's longevity besides being defiant?
I think it's we've never done any sort of major tours. I mean, like the most we've been on the road is maybe a couple of weeks together. So it's breathable, the whole thing, and bearable. I think once you get to eat out of each other's pockets, and you're in each other's faces all the time, it can become difficult. So I think that's where it all stands. I mean, two of the guys, I mean, especially John, our singer, and Hans, our drummer, are from the Netherlands. So they're across the water anyway. And the Brexit thing hasn't done us any favors, to tell the truth. But we see each other from time to time, do these shows, and it's great. We like meeting like our long lost cousins. That's how the whole band is at the moment. So we live very far apart from each other. I moved down from London, the big city I was in for 67 years. I was born in London, and I came down to live on the south coast in Hastings last year. So it's all a change.
It's kind of interesting that you guys have a 50th anniversary, considering you technically broke up after the release of your first album, Time Tells No Lies.
Yeah, but we're still active. We're still writing songs and stuff like that. And obviously we tried to get the whole thing together with another project together with Clive Burr from Iron Maiden, God rest his soul. And that didn't work out. We thought, well, this is it. We'll try the American thing, go a bit more commercial, which every other band was doing at the time, and it just didn't quite click. We were just like in the wrong car of a train every time.
Well, I think part of the problem is that you were signed to Arista Records, which is more of an R&B label, and I know they were trying with hard rock bands at the time. They had the Rods as well, and it just didn't seem like a great fit.
No, to tell the truth, I think we were just guinea pigs. And yeah, it's a shame, really, because I mean, yeah, it was a wrong label for us. We had the wrong management as well. We got a bum steer on the management of that band, and that actually broke the band up. It was a very sad time. In fact, I was offered by a man called Peter Mensch, you may know him, of certain other rock band fame. He actually came up to me at the Rainbow after an Iron Maiden gig, and he said, you guys get yourselves a singer, and I'll sign you straight away." So we thought about this, and we searched, but we couldn't find the right man for the job. And then by the time we did get someone in, it all blown over. The whole thing went cold, and so yeah, you live and learn, or you don't.
Well, you did have your share of singers over the years, actually quite notable singers. You had Gary Barden from MSG, Doogie White from Everybody Else, and Paul Diano from Iron Maiden. And you even had Dennis Stratton and Clive Burr coming through the band as well. So, I mean, that's some cool things to have happened to the
Yeah,
band.
we've had some cool people in the band, but I mean, the singer thing, we joked about that being like Spinal Tap's drummers, exploding on stage. We're going to do a video of that. Oh, next time we do an album, we'll have this all the faces blank, and we'll have these mix and match faces that you can take the photographs and just like stick them like they do these photo fit pictures and these in the old days, fit the criminal, the face of the criminal, but it was the face of the singer. Who's going to be Mantis's next singer? A face that's blank on the album.
Even though these singers came through your band, you guys are still on friendly terms, right?
Yes, yeah, we are. I mean, there's never any animosity with us to other members of the band. I mean, yeah, I mean, we were our own worst enemies actually, because we weren't working all the time. Guys had day jobs. I had a day job as well. We had families. We had to support them. So it was very difficult. I mean, if we'd taken that turn in the 80s, that we went down the other fork, the Peter Mensch route, and that would have been marvelous. We could have sustained families through rock and roll, but it wasn't to be. So yeah, we all just got caught up with our own families and all our own work, so we weren't pursuing enough on the musical front for people to want to stay with the band. Obviously they wanted to elevate themselves, further themselves, and there wasn't that real enthusiasm in our band for us to do that at the time. So although we love doing it, there's not we just love doing it, but it just like it wouldn't support us. That's the thing.
You mentioned earlier that you were writing material for a side project. How far along are you on that?
Well, I've got shed loads of music. I've got every time I get an idea for a song, I sing it into my iPhone. Just like going down the street, getting the rhythm together, and I'll just like start singing to myself, to the consternation of some people who are passing by. Funny enough, I started doing that, offloading the stuff onto my computer, onto my Mac at home, and putting it in my digital audio workstation. To the surprise, for the first time I did it, I had all these like ideas, and it took about 5 hours of time, and I went, wow, this is about 3 albums worth here, even if I sort of prune it down to about a third of the amount. So and it was a great way of writing, because sometimes I'd sing a lyric with a melody just as a working thing, or sometimes I come home and just like play acoustically on the guitar and just record it. So loads of ideas like that, and some of those songs have found the way of a lot of albums. A lot of Gravity was done like that as well. That album, I've had quite a bit of writing on that album. This one, Defiance, I didn't have that much input into it, tell the truth, apart from Standing Tall and the instrumental Night Swim that I did with Andy. I was actually moving home last year, and it was very disruptive because I had to break down my studio. I had a great big studio. And I'm in this like little box room now. This is 8 foot by 8 foot square, and I came to finish the album here with the boys. So it's just one of those things. But at least there's some quality songs on there, and I actually got into the production a lot, and arranged everything, and so yeah, I put my input in.
So at 50 years is usually the time a lot of bands call it a day. Have you thought of putting Praying Mantis to bed?
We've been thinking about it for some time actually, and but we go out there, we do those gigs, and the reception we get on the albums are too good to put away. You can't. I mean, I've talked about hanging my guitar up, and I've got tinnitus as well, really bad tinnitus. I've got 7.5K continuously squealing in my ears, and to the point where I'm deaf. In ordinary conversation, I have to ask people to repeat themselves like 3 or 4 times. You're on stun volume at the moment, but and yeah, all the age old things about sort of getting old. I mean, I'll be sick. Well, I was 68 last Sunday, and the old legs I've got two knee replacements, and I've got arthritis in my fingers starting to happen. But I'll go on as long as I can. Put it that way. I let my daughter carry the flag after that. My youngest daughter, she's a great little guitar player.
Awesome. And does she have her own band out there?
Yeah, she's been playing a couple of different bands. She was a punk band called the Oozes. They've been doing quite well. So yeah, but she's working on a few different other projects as well, as well as the whole administration thing of managing bands and doing the artist liaison and stuff like that. So she's got her head screwed on. I'm not going to leave it all to the music.
So before I let you go, how did the band name come to be? How did you decide on Praying Mantis?
Oh, wow. There's actually a book by a guy called Justin Gaines, and it's actually called What's in a Name? And it's like how the bands, rock bands, especially heavy metal bands, got their names. How did they get the name? And ours was in the early days of me being at college. We were around Pete Moore, the other guitarist I formed the band with at college. He had a house around the corner. We used to rehearse there. We found someone at the college who had a great voice, Stan Cunningham, and he came round to sing one day, and we had two little cassette recorders, the old style Philips ones that used to, and we used to bounce from one to the other. And our first microphone was the actual microphone from the cassette recorder taped to a broomstick, which was with a hammer taped to the bottom of the broomstick, and that was the mic stand. And we were recording his vocal on the thing, and to save degradation of actually bouncing from one to the other, we decided to do some backing vocals at the same time, Pete and myself. And Stan was singing, and we were facing him as close to the microphone as possible, and we started joking, going doo dappy dooby dooby, going like this. And he said, "You guys look like a couple of praying mantises." We're just like moving our arms up and down, and then Pete and me looked at each other, and we go, "Whoa, that's the name of the band." I know. Not a lot of people ask me that one, but yeah, it's good. Good old story behind it.
Yeah, that's a fun little tale right there.
Yeah, and Justin, I've just sold a few more copies of your book.
Well, Tino, those are all the questions I have for you today. The new Praying Mantis album, Defiance, it's out now. Frontiers Music. Sounds great, man. I encourage anybody to check it out if they're a fan of melodic rock and AOR. And I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with KNAC.com today about it.
It's been great, George. Thanks very much. And I look forward to seeing all our fans in the States very soon. I promise we've got to come.